Hello, welcome back to another episode of Locked In. My name is Megan Holden,
And I'm Sam Rodriguez.
and we're here covering the latest and hottest news for the NBA, NFL, and the Creating Young Minds Undiscovered League. For those who haven't heard, the Creating Young Minds Undiscovered League is the first replica of European basketball and training in USA. We actually got a special guest from the show here today. First, we're going to let you know we're going to cover the Curry criticism that's been going on recently, and did he shut it up with that big performance he had against Portland? And then we're going to also talk about the QB's futures that's up in the air for 2021. A lot of rumors going on about retirement for some players, where they will land. We're going to address that. And then we'll also be interviewing our special guest, a pro basketball player. Can you tell us more about him, Sam, who our special guest is today?
So we have Marcus Brooks, a 6'6 guard, plays for the Creating Young Minds League on Louisville Black, and also plays in the TBL League for the Louisville Leopards. He also is a creator of Mindful Films, which we will get into later on.
Yes, let's introduce him for the show. How you doing today, Marcus Brooks?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on the show. So are you ready to talk basketball?
Yeah, of course, always.
All right, before we get started, who's your favorite team? So I got to know if I'm dealing with a Mel Lakers fan or not.
Nuggets.
Nuggets? Okay, I like it. I respect that. All right, good future ahead of you guys. But let us get to our first topic. The question was, can Curry lead a team? He got a lot of criticism for that. Just for this slow start over the first 5 games of the season. People felt like he shut it up after the 62-point performance against Portland. So I just want to ask, is the criticism against Curry fair with can he lead a team? How do you feel about it? Sam, you want to start off?
All right, so I think it's kind of stupid, the criticism they're giving him. He's a phenomenal player. He was my MVP pick for this season. He has a team still, but you see people underperforming. Kelly Oubre hit his first 3 with, I think, 5 games in, 6 games into the season. People are underestimating that team still. Curry is a phenomenal player. He has one of the best IQs in the game. He's the best shooter I've ever seen. I mean, that man can hit from anywhere, and people are still doubting him. Yes, Klay Thompson's out. He can still lead this team. Draymond Green, you saw, he's still there. He's acting up like usual, jumping around. He's the heart and soul of that team, but Curry is their main scorer. It has to go through him. He has to pass the ball, but he needs help. Everyone else needs to participate. Andrew Wiggins, we see, is inconsistent as well. Kelly Oubre, like I said. But it's all about if the team helps out. Curry can't do it himself, but he can drop 62 if you need him to.
So you don't think that's fair for him to say, can Curry lead a team just because his team around him right now is not doing good? Is that your argument?
Yeah, that's my argument.
So now I'm going to take I'm going to go a different way here. I'm going to look at the whole, history. I'm going to compare it versus what we have, the same caliber versus other players. So let me just start off with Curry's a 3-time champion, right? But we know his rings, 2 came with the KD era when KD was there. He was actually the best player on the team despite, Curry was the face of the franchise. And then you had 1 with also a stacked team when it was him, Clay, Draymond Green, and the roster versus the LeBron James and Cavs who were beat up at the time. The first 3 seasons, he didn't hit the playoffs. The next was semi-conference. Next was the first round exit. Given he did have injury history. Now he's 32. He's the best scorer in the game. He's great passer, great dribble moves, great handles. He was a bad defender coming in, but he has worked his way up. He's a solid defender, even though this year he's struggling, and I'll get into that in a second. But I feel like with high praise because high criticism, and given the rankings, people had him, the top 15. One person had him above Kobe. So I feel like if you're gonna be that high in those rankings, I think you gotta be able to have the same type of criticism that we give those players, like LeBron James. Can he carry a team by himself instead of one with a stacked roster? Can he win himself besides having a bunch of help, like we mentioned with LeBron, when he went to Miami? Could he win by himself? He went to the Cavs. I feel like we have to hold people to the same standard. So I want to just know, how much does he impact team into winning himself? Can he carry a team? Now the team right now, Golden State, is kind of on par with the rest of the NBA as far as good and decent teams. There's 1 or 2 stars. Given how you feel about Green right now, he has a foot injury, but I feel like he's still a great defensive player. But he has 1 to 2 stars and a couple good role players. Even though you mentioned Oubre and Wiggins been struggling beginning of the season, but they have been coming on the past 3 games. But how I feel about it is, I want to wait and see if he can carry this team to at least playoffs. Because now I want to see how much can he impact winning by himself. Now it's more you can see what his impact is, and I feel like that's not okay. I get that it might not be as fair now. He's 32. he's not maybe at the peak, but I feel like you can see like the 62 game, he's still very effective. I feel like one game, the 62 doesn't answer the question or does it dismiss the question, but neither does the 5-game rough start. I feel like it's something we have to wait and see. We can probably criticize it later in the year when they're closest to the playoffs. I feel like if they miss the playoffs, Curry, that whole is he a top 10, top 15 player goes down because he can't carry a team by himself. Where I feel like if you're those top players can, and I feel like it doesn't knock him out as one of the best point guards ever played. Definitely the best shooter. But I feel like if he can't take this team to the playoffs, that's still kind of well rounded. It does knock him a bit on those top 10, 15 rankings. But like I said before, the team right now is a still great offensive team, number 6, 116 points, but they're allowing 121 points at the end of the end. And like I said, Curry is struggling on defense right now. He's ranked number 303 for defensive rating. I just think I just want to see how Curry's impact itself, because we know what it is with the superstar team, and that's going to be brought up when you talk about Curry's level, like his history, we would debate Curry. But now that it's his team right now, and there's no other excuses, there's no super team excuse. Let's see what he can do. I feel like it's fair if he's going to break that high. It's fair criticism. So how do you feel about this? Get a basketball player's perspective from it, Marcus Brooks.
I just want to say the whole top 15 thing, Curry is always going to be top 15 regardless of like really what's happening with his team right now. I mean, he's a 2-time unanimous MVP. So that speaks volume in itself. But this Golden State team has kind of been reconstructing, I'd say, over like the last year or two. So once they get in the swing of things and actually get used to playing with each other, this conversation will be completely different. Curry's been the same. He's going to be the same regardless of what's happening. So I think he can lead a team. He puts up the numbers too. He's consistent. And the fact that he does what he does night in and night out with behind the arc, that is very scary. But once he gets other pieces back, so once Andrew Wiggins figures out if he actually likes basketball or not and starts to play, and then once Kelly Oubre gets his shooting down and things like that, Draymond comes back and he's actually healthy, I think things will be a lot better. They'll definitely be a playoff team for sure. Probably maybe the lower end, 7 or 8, but I think they'll be able to squeeze their way in there. But I think Curry definitely can definitely lead a team at least to the playoffs. Now, coming out of the West in the championship by yourself, that's a complete different thing. Because the West is stacked top to bottom. But making it to the playoffs, I think he is capable of making it to the playoffs as long as everybody else kind of chips in. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it is basketball, so it's a 5-man thing. But, of course, Curry is the key factor, and I think he is good enough to lead a team. Even this Golden State team, once they just kind of figure everything out, once everyone actually gets their role together and realizes what they need to do to support him so they can get there, then I think they'll be able to make it.
I got to make a quick rebuttal to that. So I wanted to say, I think that, I don't know if the West is as stacked. I feel like they're top heavy. Like the top teams is definitely a lot better than the East. But I feel like the 4 to 8 is up for grabs more. I feel like the teams are more spaced out. I feel like it's a bigger gap than it is on the East. But I want to say this, though. I want to play devil's advocate here. If he doesn't go on to the playoffs with this team, does it hurt his legacy, or does it hurt, or is it fair to criticize? Can he carry a team if they don't make the playoffs with this team?
Well, to the West and the East thing, the East, like the top 3 teams are like the only teams that are really over 500, and then everybody else is at 500 or below. So you have 4 to 5 teams that are making the playoffs in the East that aren't even 500. So it's no comparison there. But hurting his legacy, not really. I mean, he's already sketched in. It might dent it now as far as what he's capable of doing, but his legacy in the long term, I don't. He's beat LeBron in the finals twice. So with help, yes, but still, he's beat LeBron. So that's enough to lock his legacy in.
But was it him beating LeBron, or was it Golden State beating LeBron?
I mean, you don't beat LeBron without Steph Curry. Either year, even with just KD, he shows with Russell Westbrook, he couldn't do it. So he needed a legitimate point guard. He can do it with Curry. And then granted, Cleveland did have some injuries and stuff that year that Golden State did come out, but Curry was the key factor. They didn't have any superstars. This is a team that got drafted together for the most part, and now they're just all of a sudden clicking, and Curry is the face of everything. So you don't beat LeBron without Steph Curry.
Okay, do you think if KD wasn't there, would they beat him 2 more times?
Not 2 more times. Maybe 1, but not 2.
Okay, I just feel like now he's by himself, and I want to see more of the individual impact. I feel like if he can take this team to the playoffs, that cements it. But there is a question: how much can a player do by himself? If we're going to talk about top 10 players, we could have sized LeBron, but look what LeBron had to go to the Heat, but look what he did with the Cavs, especially when after Kyrie and Kevin Love got banged up. So I feel like if we're gonna we have to have the same criteria for I feel like every single player for those ones we put in the top 10. Sam, do you have a rebuttal to any of this?
I mean, you can't compare LeBron to anyone. His criticism, Steph Curry does not deserve to get LeBron criticism. No one deserves to get LeBron criticism. That's one of the best players of all time, top 2 of all time. So even if Steph Curry is amazing, which he is, he's the best shooter of all time, he does not deserve LeBron criticism. That man went to like 8 straight finals with different teams. So you can't really compare Curry and him because they play 2 different games and they're 2 different types of players.
But I'm just saying using LeBron as one example. But we hold the same criticism for Kevin Durant. Oh, he won but can he win by himself now with the Nets? We heard the same criticism for Kawhi. Oh, he won with that talented Spurs team, but he went to Toronto. I feel like it's something we have to hold at value because now there's no super team no more. Can he carry that team? I feel like it's a fair question. I feel like he's still obviously one of a Hall of Famer, still a top player. But if he wants to be high in those rankings, I feel like getting this team to the playoffs by himself with no Clay and no super team will help. But now to the NBA, to the NFL, a lot of QBs futures up in the year 2021. To mention, we have Cam Newton, you have Carson Wentz. I want to start with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz with the Eagles. He obviously got booted, well not booted, but he got benched for Jalen Hurts after struggling this season. Seems like he can never stay healthy for a full season. But it seems like he wants to work out the differences with the Eagles, despite the back and forth with the head coach. But his cap hit is huge, $34 million. If he is going to get traded, he is going to have to work on that contract. So let me ask you this: should Carson Wentz start again in the NFL? Should he get another chance, and where should he go? Should he stay with the Eagles, or should he get another chance with another team? What do you think, Sam? Oh, sorry. Wait. Got it. I don't want to have you talk, guys.
He shouldn't stay with the Eagles. That's Jalen Hurts' team now. There's no spot for him there. Mm-hmm. Even if they tried to give him back, they saw what he did this season. It's not going to get any better. They're not going to get any new weapons. That's what they have. I honestly think the Patriots could use him because they're not going to resign Cam. I don't see that happening. He just doesn't fit that system. I think Carson Wentz might fit that system a little bit more than he did. But again, the Pats are going to need to get those wide receiver weapons that Bill refuses to draft every single year, no matter how good they are. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I think Wentz's best fit would be New England. I really don't see any other team taking him up. I think New England's really in desperation mode, trying to find a new quarterback. So I think that'd be the best bet for him right now.
All right. But you think he's still starter worthy?
Yeah, for the Patriots, yeah.
Okay. Dang. Okay. Just come out my Patriots like that. I think his cap hit is huge. I don't think no one's going to trade him right now for that cap hit. I feel like he has to work out a deal, which you said Jalen Hurts is the QB there. I don't see him going back to Wentz. So I feel like he's ultimately going to get traded. A place, though, that people I think are overlooking is Indianapolis Colts. The head coach there, Frank Leach, was a former offensive coordinator for the Eagles, especially during Wentz's peak season of 16-17. So I can see him going there. For 2020, though, he's been below average, 28 QBR, 34 rating, most interceptions 15. But he usually doesn't throw that many interceptions, more of like a 7 pass. I think the last 2 seasons he threw 7 interceptions. He reminds me, I said before, like Tony Romo, where he makes a great play, has some great highlights, but then he'll mess up. I feel like there's need more consistency. I think a fresh start is the best. He needs to stay healthy. I will give him one more shot on the team. I think Indianapolis, because of the former offensive coordinator, is the best fit. What do you think, Marcus Brooks? Do you think Carson Wentz should get another shot, and where do you think he should play? Or where do you predict him to play?
That's tough. But, I mean, yeah, he should get another shot. But it's risky with the injuries, especially at the quarterback position, because that's such a pivotal position. So I mean, like, look what happened to Andrew Luck. Like, he had to retire early because of it, but he could have been super great. So I would hate to see something like that happen to Carson Wentz. But at the same time, I mean, if he has the heart for it and the desire to, take care of his body and get better, then I believe he can do it and stay healthy. But I would definitely agree with seeing him in Indy. That would probably be a good fit with him there, especially still with Ty still here there. So he'll have at least one weapon, and then the offensive coordinator will help out a lot, making him feel a little bit more comfortable in a new system and stuff like that. So I say, if he was to get another chance, the Colts probably would be the best fit for him. But like I said, it's just risky with the injuries. That's all it is. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I was muting my bet. Yeah. So it would be interesting too to see what happens with Philip Rivers, which we're gonna get into in a second. If they bring him back or not, that's gonna obviously affect the decision. So next up, Cam Newton. You mentioned Cam Newton. You went after the Patriots for QB. He's right now. The news is too early to tell if he'll set up a backup QB role. He wants to start again. He would like to compete. But right now, there's been conflicting reports. Pats and Cam are expected to part ways, according to Adam Schefter, an NFL insider. But to a Patriots insider, Jeff Howley says the door is not completely closed. So the question is, does Cam Newton get another starting spot or be able to compete for the starting spot, and where does he land? I'll start this one off. I think that he still has it. Obviously, he's a former MVP. 2018 was a great year. Just 2 seasons ago, he got beaten up 2019, and this season I feel like it's hard to critique him because he had the worst wide receiver and tight end groups. So it's hard to really judge a QB when they have no supporting cast around them, and it was kind of make and break with Cam Newton. So I know and obviously Cam Newton's not completely excused. Some of the mechanics are off, but I feel like he wasn't set up to succeed with this team. I feel like that he's probably getting another 1-year prove-it deal. So I don't think we've seen the best of Cam. I think there's still some Cam left for this season. I don't think we've seen what Cam could be still. I don't feel like he's going to be MVP level again, but I feel like he's still an average QB. And if you're looking at what Brady last season, what he's shown this season, that playing with that offense last season, which was kind of better because you had Edelman. This year you didn't have Edelman. You had wide receivers that he never played with before in a system that was new to him. For Brady, his numbers went down as well. So I'll take any QB and put him in this offense, and they're going to drop a level. So I think Cam Newton, who was below average this season, he was middle of the pack for completion, but for QBR and QB rating, he ranked on the bottom. But I don't think he's the third. I don't think that there's 32 QBs better than him in the NFL. I definitely don't think there's 74 QBs better than him in the NFL. I feel like he should at least get a shot at competing for QB. I think it's going to be a 1-year deal. And I'm looking at the Washington football team. Now, Alex Smith is banged up. Well, he's towards the end of retirement, and he obviously has his leg issue, like the amazing comeback player of the year story. But Cam Newton has that Ron Rivera connection. Ron Rivera said, don't ever bet against Cam. They have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. They have a top wide receiver, McLaren. They have a good running back in Gibson. I like the fit there. 1-year deal. Washington football team, because they made the playoffs, is not going to get a high draft pick to get a QB. So I feel like this is good insurance, especially with let him and Alex Smith battle it out. What do you think, Sam?
I don't think he stays with the Patriots. I think that's kind of like given after this season. I don't see Bill re-signing him or getting that deal, even though that system is probably the hardest system in the NFL. He didn't have any weapons, so this really wasn't, like you said, a fair example to Cam. He should have had like a better comeback season. But I don't know which team would take him. I honestly thought our Broncos would take him last year. I was kind of amped. But, John Elway kind of screwed it up per usual, keeping in Drew Lock, who has shown some potential. But anyway, Cam Newton, I don't know where he'd fit. Washington might be a good fit. But if they say they beat the Bucs this season in the wild card, do they keep Alex Smith? Because he's been playing pretty well, actually. He hasn't been playing bad. Coming off that crazy leg injury, maybe not be able to play again. He's been playing pretty solid. So I don't know what happens, but I think Cam could be a backup somewhere. Maybe like Saints backup, since Drew Brees don't know what's going to happen. They have they have Jameis Winston, and they have Taysom Hill. But again, I really don't know what's going on there. But Cam deserves a deal somewhere. I just really don't know where it'd fit. Maybe Washington, but I'm not fully sold on that right now.
I feel like the connection with Ron Rivera gives me a shot at Washington. Some of the teams, I feel like probably teams that either want to bridge QB or are probably ready to compete. You mentioned the Broncos, but John Elway likes those QBs with great arm strength. And also, you guys are kind of a younger, more team. You guys, and they seem committed to Drew Lock. So I feel like Cam Newton will go to a team 1 year deal that needs a bridge QB or competitive. I'm sorry to tell you, that your team is committed to Drew Lock. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if I should send you apology. I'm not saying you should be, but I'm just saying that's what he says. That's what your John Elway doesn't want to give up on Drew Lock. Drew Lock deal. I see you shaking your head set there, Marcus Book. What you got to say?
First off, I agree with Sam on the Drew Lock thing. I don't know. I'm a Broncos fan too, so I was hoping we were going to end up getting away to get Cam, but like you said, Elway likes quarterbacks that like to sit in the pocket a little bit. But I mean, the offense we have right now, we could probably use Cam. But really, I could see him playing maybe in Jacksonville. I feel like that'd be a kind of a good fit for him. Kind of nitty gritty football, you know. They like to get things done. He would definitely be able to help there, bring that fire there. But with Cam right now, it's kind of show and prove. He's just got to put the numbers back up for him to get any real big deal that he wants to get, or you know, get a starting position. Especially with people actually starting to get in the groove now with the quarterbacks they have. With Washington, how I feel about that is, like I said, if they beat the Bucks, then I would kind of just keep that team the same and just kind of see how we can build off with that instead of, trying to change things around.
That's a big if.
It is a big if. It is. But with the confidence, at the end of the day, just like basketball, ball bounces in funny ways. So, if Washington shows up and they do what they're supposed to do, they have the confidence that they have for winning the division and everything, then it could be a possibility that, they might be able to compete with Tampa Bay. But at the same time, this is Tom Brady we're talking about. So
yes,
he's certified. So
glad we agree there. What I was going to say was, I think even with Alex Smith, they don't really have much of a backup after him. I feel like they'll probably be a good fit for him because of the coach selection, but also this depth, and there's also a real shot for him to starting if anything happens to Alex Smith, even if he keeps a starting job. I want to just get to the questions real quick. Someone did mention maybe a little something that make you guys happy in Denver. John Elway isn't in charge anymore. So, hey, you don't know. Maybe he gives another QB a different shot. I still feel like he's obviously probably involved in decisions either way. And someone asked about San Francisco for depth for Jimmy G. I can see that happening too. San Francisco had been having a lot of health issues with QB, but because of Cam's history with injury, I'm not sure if they go to Cam specifically. They might look at another QB. And someone said Cam hasn't been the same since 2016. Actually, look at 2018 season individually as one of his best seasons. 2019 is where he got hurt, and 2020, obviously, we've seen what happened. But now going to the next QB. We have, hold on, my notes a little messed up here. Oh, next page. So Andy Dalton got a chance with the Dallas Cowboys. He went 500. He said he's gonna test free agency. So 2020 was an inconsistent year for him. 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Ranked at the bottom for QBRs and QB ratings. 24 incompletions. How do you guys feel? Do you think he's just starting QB worthy? And where do you see him ending up? Marcus Brooks, do you want to start this one off?
I don't know. My man Andy he's consistent sometimes, but starting position.
Consistent sometimes means inconsistent.
Exactly. But I don't know. He's been a few different places now, so he hasn't really done too much or really consistently got a team to the playoffs or in the playoff talk. So I think it'd be better for him to kind of stay as a backup, maybe with the Cowboys when Dak comes back, especially because you don't know if he'll be 100% next year. So kind of play it by ear with that. But as far as starting somewhere, I don't know. I can't say that much yet.
I don't blame you. Okay, Cam. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, he's done. His days as a starter are done. That's about it. He has no hope left. No. We saw the Cowboys have a phenomenal offense, and he couldn't even do nothing there. So you know what I mean? Like, it's time to hit the road. Like, give someone else a chance. Play backup somewhere else. But he's not starting anywhere else unless their starting QB gets hurt. that's all I really got to say about him. I got nothing else on him. He's done.
I like the idea of him coming back to the Cowboys, especially with that contract up in the air. He's probably gonna get franchised again. We'll mention that later also. But Andy Dalton never showed me anything special. He went to 3 Pro Bowls, but it's because a lot of guys opted out. Right now it's considered a backup starter. He's reliable, but he's good durability, but he's not a top. He's not even. I think there's 31 QBs better than him, probably even 32. Given obviously the stats I mentioned earlier. A place though I see it, I mentioned earlier the 49ers had banged up history with QBs. I can see him going there, but I think he will go actually is the Steelers. The Steelers has a great roster around and they still want to compete for a championship. And Big Ben is kind of looks like he should be tired, but I feel like he's gonna stay another year. He doesn't look as good as efficient, and if he gets banged up, which he usually does, and miss a game or two in a season, I can see them needing a reliable backup because Mason Rudolph is not going to get it done. So I can see the Steelers or a team 49ers who have a great roster around them, but still need a backup QB in case something happens, and still take them is enough to take them to a playoffs. So next up, Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold obviously is a Jets QB. They're open to trade him and they're not committed to him. He just finished his 3rd year rookie deal. How do you feel about this, Sam? Do you think he is a QB? Should they get another chance to experiment over with Sam Darnold?
So he should get a chance somewhere else. I feel like the Jet system ruins every quarterback that goes into it. Adam Gase is a horrible head coach. Should have never had a head coaching job since leaving Miami. So I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. We saw his college days. He was great. And he'd be a good fit for some teams that need a quarterback. And there's plenty of teams that need a quarterback right now. So I could see him even going over to, what's it called? I can see him going to Jacksonville. You know, if Trevor Lawrence didn't really work out. I'm not big on Trevor Lawrence right now after seeing what he did in the the second round, first round, whatever it is. But I think he'd be a good fit somewhere else. He's a great quarterback still. He just hasn't had the time to shine. The Jets offense is really horrible. There's plenty of teams that could use him. So I think someone should give him a shot, even a 1-year deal to prove it.
Man, you're just hard critiquing players today. But I have to say this though, I feel like people hang on too much about what they see from college. He's shown us 3 years what he is professionally. A below average QB. I think the experiment should be over. He's very interception prone. He had 11 interceptions this season versus 9 touchdowns. Ranked among the bottom for QB ratings and played 12 games. He hasn't played a full season either. I get that the Jets offense is nothing to also they don't really have much supporting cast. Gaze is a QB killer, but look at Ryan Tannehill. People think that maybe he'll have a comeback like Ryan Tannehill did, but I feel like Ryan Tannehill showed more than Sam Darnold did. Like Ryan Tannehill still looked like a decent QB when he was with Gaze. I don't feel like Sam Darnold doesn't. I feel like yes, maybe a new start will help, but I don't think he's going to be anything what people are expecting him to be as the first overall selection. He might be an average QB one day. I don't see him. I see maybe if you want to have that, low, buy low, get high, like low risk, high reward type thing. I wouldn't just have him put all your eggs in one nest though with Sam Darnold. If you want to have a QB competition, sure. I think the Jets will try to trade him. I'm not sure if they'll get the value they would like. A team I'm looking at, you guys are not gonna like this. The Denver Broncos. Like you said, Drew Lock is a QB now, but they have a young team. Sam Darnold's young. They have that competition. You have a good, competition. And like I said, John Elway loves him some QBs. Even though he's not the same. He doesn't have the same job title. I feel like he's gonna be involved in decision making. And I feel like if it's buy low for Sam Darnold, I think they'd take it. What do you guys think? Would you be open to Sam Darnold on your Denver Broncos?
So real quick on that, yes, he deserves another shot, but Broncos don't test him out. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk it. He can test out somewhere else, but not over here.
Oh, so he doesn't deserve another shot as long as it's not with my team. I see. Tell you how you really feel then. He's still good, right? You can be where you can be in college. Why not give you a shot?
There's plenty of young quarterbacks in the draft I want right now, but he's not around.
But you guys have the 9th pick overall. I don't know who's going to be there still. It is a deep QB class. Marcus Brooks, what do you think?
Man, that's tough because the Jets, their whole organization is kind of bad, honestly, right from top to bottom. So it's really hard to perform there from, I feel like, any specialty position, wide receiver, running back, anything. I do feel like he probably has the potential to be a good quarterback for another team with the right system if he's, put around the right pieces and everything. When it comes to the Broncos, I don't know. We're trying to win now, not later. So we need something that's going to get us back into this good talk, because our defense is still doing what it's supposed to do. So we just need that quarterback position. So that's what's holding us back right now.
I think also health and experience would also help.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, sometimes.
Yeah, right. Now wrapping it up here, I'm going to get rid of the echo real quick. So we have Rivers. Rivers, it seems like it's going to be coach to retire for him. He's on a 1-year deal, $25 million, 39. Because actually this year was a lot better than last year. But let me ask you guys, coach struggled offensively early in the year. Do you think it's time for Philip Rivers to retire? Sam, do you want to start it off?
I don't think it's time for him to retire. I say he could still have another year, maybe two, not playing top peak performance, but he can still get a couple years off left. I think the Colts, he played decent on. He got them to the playoffs. He did what he was supposed to do. Again, he's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. So maybe a year left. I'm kind of stretching it with that too. But just say a 1-year deal. He's overpaid right now too as well. So they thought he was going in because the Chargers, he played phenomenally. I think he was a great quarterback over there, just couldn't get it over the hump. So he got paid off that, but he kind of declined this year as we all saw. But he still has an extra year in him left over there. So I think they should give him a 1-year deal. He shouldn't retire yet because he's still better than most quarterbacks in the NFL.
I would say this. I don't think he got two. I think he's 39. I think he maybe got 1 year, as you mentioned. I think that he declined last year. This year actually was better. It did get off to a shaky start. It's been consistent, but he found his groove around like week 10. I think if it's a cheaper deal, then I can see him coming back to the Colts. I would and have maybe, like I said, Carson Wentz, maybe have a little QB competition. But I can see him come back 1 more year. Like I said, his numbers improved. I think he might have 1 year left in him. And like you mentioned before, he's middle of a pack QB in the NFL right now. There's a lot of QBs that are worse than him. So I can see it. Marcus Brooks, what do you think?
I think he has about a year left in him.
Mm-hmm.
But Philip's always been consistent for the most part. And when he gets going, he can put up numbers. So he definitely should get another year. I mean, as far as actually doing something with that year, we'll see. But he definitely should play at least 1 more year and see how he can help the team at least get the experience they need or teach the next upcoming quarterback, some of the tricks to the trade and everything like that. But definitely at least 1 more year. But I do agree he is a little overpaid. But I mean, they're passing out money these days. So.
Well, it's going to be interesting, too, because the cap situation, cap's going to go a lot lower. Next, real quick, last two. Tua, there's been talks. So Miami has third picks of Houston. So they pick a QB if Justin Fields or Zach Wilson's there. I think slow down. Everyone's ready to jump off the Tua train. He has an up and down season, but he looked really good against Kansas City to me. Him coming back to New England, adjusting. Second half, I thought was good. Oakland, Cincinnati, Arizona. They need to draft O-line. They have one of the, I believe 28th ranked O-line, according to Pro Football Focus, in the NFL. They need to draft O-line. Give him his help. He's shown that he has potential. Just stick with it. I don't know why anyone's so ready to rush things like, 1 year, it's a short off season. They didn't really have much of an off season. He was hurt. I feel like he didn't get a fair shot. Give him a fair shot. See what happens. Surround him with a good offensive line and some more weapons. I think he's shown this season that he has potential, that he can be a great QB in the league in the future. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, don't jump off yet. He's a great quarterback. He's shown pretty good. There are some great quarterbacks in this draft, but I mean, you just drafted this man last year. Give him a chance. It'd be a waste. Just put him on the bench, because then if he does have that talent, it'd go to waste. Maybe they bench him for the season. He doesn't play good. Another team's going to give him a shot, and he'll probably shine over there. He's a great quarterback right now. I doubted him coming in. I still thought Justin Herbert was better, and I was right. But thank you. But he does play pretty well. And again, he doesn't have a good offensive line. And he came out hurt with that Dolphins team that was not expected to play as good as they did. Like, they outshined everyone. So honestly, I think they do keep him. Don't draft a quarterback. If anything, draft a wide receiver or O-lineman. Give this man some help. Don't just back out on him now.
I see Marcus Brooks shaking his head yes. Do you agree over there?
Yeah, definitely. I would get him some help when it comes to the draft. But if you want to replace him, I would say replace him with a more seasoned veteran, because I feel like the culture in Miami right now is actually getting good to where they can compete in the playoffs. So I feel like it would be a waste for them to replace Tua with a younger quarterback that doesn't have really any veteran experience when it comes to, what's going on right now. So, I mean, that's if they really want to win. So either get him some help, an O-line or a wide receiver or something, get him a little help outside. If not, then go get a more seasoned quarterback.
I agree. And it's throwing away a draft pick like that after this 1 year. It's kind of crazy. Lastly, before we get into our interview, it's kind of like a football prediction right now because Drew Brees might be expected to retire after the season, according to Adam Steffner. Can he win a ring before he leaves? That's a big question. He has one. People are on him. Can he get another? People have that effect in his rankings. Can the Saints get a ring? Can people also talk about him in the playoffs? Does he choke? We'll see. What do you guys think? Can he win another ring before it's all over? Marcus Brooks, do you want to start it off?
Yeah, I think he can. Drew Brees can definitely win another one, especially if everyone on the Saints roster stays healthy. So I mean, they've been balling the last few years, like putting up good numbers offensively, and they've been getting good stops defensively. So I think if he comes back locked in, I feel like they can probably manage to squeeze one more out before he hits the road.
I like what you did there, locked in. Even though you didn't do it on purpose. Sam, what do you think? Can he get another ring before he retires this season? Can he win this season?
If he wins this season, he retires. I think that's it. He's going to pull a Peyton Manning thing, wins the final year, retire, go out on top. If he doesn't win this year, I think he comes back again next year because he hasn't really shown a decline. He's been balling out still. Yeah, he just fractured 13 ribs, and this man still finished the game. Like, this man is talented. So he's going to come back. If he's still playing as he was when he first started before the injury, there probably are odds to win the Super Bowl this year. I think they can win it. If he wins this year, he does retire. If not, I think he's going to try again next year. But after next year, I think that would be the final straw.
All right. I believe in Adam's report that I think he's going to retire after the season. I think his body, especially after that fracture, took a beating. He's ready. It's done. Even though he can still probably play for another year or two. I think this is my prediction. I think the Saints win the Super Bowl, even though people say, I don't know, Drew Brees in the playoffs, and that is great. But to me, they're the most well-rounded team in the playoffs. They have offense and defense, especially given the matchup who they're going to face. If it's Tampa Bay versus Buccaneers in the final NFC final conference final or NFC finals game, I can't get the word right. Anyways, Saints got the number this season. So I feel like he's going to go to finals. I feel like they're a well-rounded team. I think Drew Brees gets a ring this year and retires. All right, now to our interview, Marcus Brooks. First question, Sam, what do you got for him?
So how did you get involved in basketball, and when did it finally click that you could go pro?
Oh. My bad.
You didn't want to hear my answer.
Yeah, right? Good.
Nah, I've just been around basketball my whole life. Started playing like recreationally when I was probably like 5. So it's just something, it's been my first love my whole life, honestly. But when did I feel like that I can probably play pro? Honestly, probably like the beginning of the TBL season. Like seeing how much talent was there and just actually getting confidence and starting to really fill my shoes with my skill set and everything like that. It's really been an eye-opener. I mean, I've always had a mentality where everyone has to tie their shoe before the game starts. So if I have the right opportunities, I feel like I could play on every level. But when it came to like a real realization, it was probably like the start of the TBL season.
Well, you mentioned the TBL season. How did you get involved in the basketball league and the Korean Young Men's Sub League?
Yeah, so I went to a TBL combine and Dr. Ackerman was there and Coach Matt was there. They kind of got introduced. They didn't really talk too much. They were in the shadows the whole time. But after I reached out to them, had a good conversation with them, they invited me to a workout, worked out with them a few times, and then they invited me to a few training camps and stuff like that, and then just opened the doorway and haven't looked back since. So
nice. Now, to pick one NBA player, who would you compare your game to in the NBA? I'm interested in this. Who would you compare it to? Who would you emulate after?
That's tough. Well,
how about who do you watch the most and who do you like take things away from, would you say?
Uh honestly, I'm a big Paul George and Devin Booker fan.
I like it.
Like more so Paul George because he's a two-way player,
Mm-hmm.
both sides of the ball. Devin Booker is just his IQ and just the things that he can do off the ball as far as creating for others and things like that. And then just he's a less is more guy, so he can do a lot more with less dribbles or just less movements and stuff like that. So those are kind of two players I really like to watch and kind of try to pick from their games.
I see that. Like when I watch a game, you're a player who can score all three levels offensively. You can go up. You also do your end on the defense side, and I feel like you also do little things that don't get seen. Great team player. You make all the right decisions. Now, Sam, I know I took your question, but where you got next, bro?
All right. So, what do you think is the most important game of basketball that gets overlooked? Like the most important part of it?
The most important part of basketball. I would say really just your effort. I mean, effort's going to top everything at the end of the day. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't show up. So as long as you are trying hard and have good intentions with, everything that you do as far as on the court, everything's with a purpose. And I think everything else will kind of fall into place. Because basketball is one of those sports that everyone can get good at, and the ball bounces in funny ways. So anyone's shot can be off on any given night, and anyone can shoot like they're shooting through a hula hoop. So really, it's that effort. That effort is going to bring that consistency, and it's going to make everything else, I think, a lot easier.
So saying that, what's your next goal for your basketball career?
Either G League or playing somewhere overseas, top tier, one of the top tier leagues. That's kind of the goal right now. So,
any team preference like that you would like to go to? You had like your pick?
No, I'm like a Army Swiss nice when it comes to basketball. So I fit in wherever I need to, whatever role I need to play. That's kind of what I adapt to, kind of like a chameleon. So just whatever is going to fit me best, I guess.
Nice analogy. What do you got next for Sam?
All right, so we know you started your own film company called Mindful Films. How did this get started, and what made you do that?
Well, I've always been into art. It's always been a big part of my life. I'm a very creative person. But getting with CYM, they kind of teach you more than basketball. They teach you more on how to be your own individual, how to brand yourself, and just kind of how to create your own lane in life. So they kind of push us to kind of start something that's us, but genuine, some type of business. So, I sat down with Coach Matt and Doc, and we talked a lot and just kind of came up with the idea to start a production company, because I feel like that's the best way I can kind of give back and promote with what I want to do, as far as like still showing that despite what's going on, it's a lot of beauty in life, and it just all depends on our perspective. So that's kind of the whole premise of the production company and everything.
Nice. So would you say that's your dream job outside of basketball is working with film?
Yeah, or just kind of film, or just more so art in general. Like I do eventually want to make movies and do big stuff like that. So that would be cool. That's kind of the long-term thing with the production company. So. And
last questions, back to the basketball quick. I appreciate how you're consistent, unlike this man over here. You're Denver, right? You don't jump to LA. You're a Denver Nuggets fan. So I'm interested. What's your NBA Finals prediction? I know it's early. NBA Finals prediction. Who's going off and who wins?
All right, are you asking like from a real basketball perspective, or are you asking a Nuggets fan right now?
I want the unbiased. I want the from real basketball perspective.
All right, the unbiased. I'm going Lakers and Nets in the finals.
Man,
but. No, I'm going with the Nets. I'm going with the Nets.
There you go.
Like Spencer Dinwiddie, like them losing him does hurt them a lot. But at the same time, I do feel like they are a good enough team to compete with the Lakers. And yeah, granted, no one can stop LeBron. But when it comes to the guard play, I feel like Nets are a little bit better. So that's going to help out, and their secondary, everybody that got coming off the bench, their rotation players are going to be able to contribute a little more on a consistent basis. I feel like when it matters, because Brooklyn was a playoff team year in and year out without any superstars, and now they have 2 superstars and 2 championship caliber superstars at that. So I think that could kind of get them over the edge. But I think if they had Spencer, it would be no question to me. But
you said Nuggets. So I thought you were gonna change with Nets and versus Nuggets there.
Nah, we're giving up Jeremy honestly hurt us a lot. And then we're just still trying to figure out this whole Michael Porter thing. He's trying to step to the light. We have Jamal Murray, who's already there. But we do need Michael Porter. I feel like the 3 of them, Jokic, Jamal, and Porter, if they can all get on the same page, then the other pieces we put around will just be very beneficial. And within the next year or 2, we'll definitely be in the conference finals or in the finals on a consistent basis.
I have a real quick question about the Nuggets. How do you feel about Bol after what he did in the bubble?
So I'm glad they didn't count that against his eligibility. So he's still technically a rookie. So he could the Blake Griffin rule. But I like him. I mean, he's just got to get a little more developed as far as just his IQ for the game. Probably get a little more size. But other than that, I mean, he's kind of a second Jokic for us. 7-footer that can handle the ball, that can stretch the floor, but he's still a 7-footer. So at the end of the day, he is a good rim protector. And he does, he loves to pass. So that's kind of how we get a lot of our open threes is inside out. So the fact that we have bigs that can pass so well makes our game so much easier.
Mm-hmm. I think you're giving your team some sort. I like them better. Because I feel like they have fresher legs and they are more hungry than Lakers who just won a championship. And on the Nets, there's I want to see when adversity hits or how that team responds. A lot of new things with that team. It's gonna be interesting season for sure. But I want to thank you for joining us today, Marcus. It was a real joy. Thank you for coming on and debating with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Of course.
Definitely enjoy y'all podcast. It's a joy to listen to.
Thank you. And you guys can catch his production. Do you want to plug it in real quick? Where can they find your videos?
Yeah, so you follow it on on Instagram, mindfulfilms_88. And then on Twitter, it's I think it's the same thing on Twitter, actually. Yeah, because I just made a Twitter page not too long ago for it. But Instagram is generally where I post most of my stuff. So.
And you can also watch the Creating Young Minds League every Sunday. We usually post a link on our social media accounts, which you can find in this nice display here that I worked very hard on. But thank you for coming on our show again, and we'll see you guys, for our viewers, we'll see you guys next week. No, actually, Monday, 12 p.m. Back to regular time.
We'll see you Monday.
See you Monday. Have a good week.
Yeah, have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.